Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is said to include many different revelations that will lead to saga-wide implications in this story by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio, as well as creator George Lucas. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, what's really exciting about this film is that we do know that Disney and Lucasfilm are introducing tons of different concepts of the Star Wars franchise, throwing in different aspects that we have never seen before on the big screen that'll take us by surprise, and really going to change how we view the prequels and the originals. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very intense for Episode 9. Now, specifically, what's really intriguing about all of this is that a description of one of the scenes based in the third act of the film, where it's described that both Rey and Kylo Ren are holding hands as they are standing in front of Luke Skywalker's Force Ghost, where it said that he begins to show Rey and Kylo the netherworld of the Force. It said that this eventually leads to a scene in which a far older version of Obi-Wan Kenobi's Force Ghost appears next to Luke and Anakin Skywalker, where Kenobi is said to appear far older than how he looked in A New Hope. It's described that Kenobi's Force Ghost also gives Rey and Kylo a lesson about the origins of the dark and the light side of the Force, and how these powers came directly from the Beyond itself. It's also explained by Kenobi's Force Ghost that there are dozens of other galaxies that the Wills created so long ago, and that the power of good and evil stretches far beyond their own galaxy. Lastly, it said that Kenobi unveils to Kylo and Rey that the netherworld of the Force is constantly growing and spreading, and that the planet that Rey seeks, that contains an entire population of powerful Force sensitives, lies in the unknown regions that Rey could use to pass on her knowledge. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, the one thing that really stands out to me the most has all to do with there being multiple galaxies outside of the already existing galaxy in the Star Wars universe. Now, what's exciting about this is that they're pretty much going into Star Wars Legends, where we learned about some of the different galaxies out there, and with different galaxies in the whole entire Star Wars universe, and those different lines of the Star Wars franchise. So they're really drawing from that. And in canon material, yes, there are some teases of other galaxies here and there, but what they're really trying to get at here, I think, is Disney and Lucasfilm throwing in the opportunity or the chance in order to really grow the Star Wars franchise. This could very well be a tease of what writer and director Rian Johnson wants to do with his new trilogy, if he is still on with his new trilogy, which, honestly, I'm not looking forward to that at all whatsoever. That's just my point of view. I'm more into what David Benioff and D.B. Weiss have in store. So, moving on from this, though, we do know that one of the sequences even involves the Kenobi Force Ghost delivering information to Rey about the planet that contains all of these different Force-sensitive individuals that are actually based over in the unknown regions that Rey could use to pass on her knowledge. Kenobi is able to offer Rey guidance and the pinpoint actual real location over in the unknown regions of where this planet really is and what star system it actually is. So, this is very interesting because this is a nice little nod and or homage to the planet of Ossus. In Star Wars Legends, Ossus was a very big and popular planet that had all to do with these ancient Force-sensitive individuals that Luke wanted to train to create new Jedi. This was all explained in the Dark Empire comic line and other books and novels of the EU. So this could very well be the new version of Ossus that's going to go by a different name, or maybe they're going to do something different totally here. So the one thing that really does also excite me is how Kenobi's Force Ghost is said to explain to both Rey and Kylo that the netherworld of the Force is constantly growing and spreading. So it almost reminds me of what we have a theory of here in the real world about the universe and how it's always expanding. It really seems like that is exactly what J.J. Abrams is going for in The Rise of Skywalker, is that he's really trying to apply some real-world elements into the Star Wars film. And I think what's so powerful about that is that it's really going to make us view the Star Wars franchise in a different way when we look back at, the prequels, the originals, and even both The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. This film is really said to reshape Star Wars lore and how we view the Star Wars franchise, and how everything related to the origins of the light and the dark side will be explained by the Force Ghost of Kenobi to Rey and Kylo while they are experiencing what the netherworld of the Force actually looks like within the third act of this film. Now, the last thing I do want to touch on here is that we do know that this film is going to have a lot of magical moments that's going to build towards something larger. And this could most definitely lie directly with what we talked about a couple of months ago, that Disney and Lucasfilm, the ending of this movie, is actually said to build toward something far larger than we could already imagine. And I think what's great about that is that it shows how ambitious JJ, George Lucas, and Chris Terrio really are with this movie and what could very well come next after, of course, Star Wars Episode 9's conclusion. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon we hear them moans again.